Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Iowa soccer supporters. I'm Ben Brackett, your Soccer Talk co-host, alongside my good buddy Blake Sievers. How you doing, Seeps?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm worn out. I'm tired.
It's a hot one today.
Yeah, every negative connotation you can say, I'll check that box.
We'll come back to the weather here in a second, but we're also joined by Matt Say Hey, the Titan Tactician. Matthew, hello.
Hey.
Went up to Ames today to watch some quarterfinal action.
And yesterday.
I've been following. I was along. We've had 4 1A games yesterday, 4 2A games yesterday, and then in sort of a bit of a scheduling masterclass, I would say they've added 3A today on Tuesday, just so that they're able to deal with any potential weather, which it looks like we might avoid, as far as like rain, thunderstorms, and stuff. But probably the story of the day, Steve's, the past couple days has to be the weather.
I'd let the weatherman speak on the weather if I were you, Ben.
Well, that's how I was going to defer to you.
Yeah, we had an absolute monsoon last year up in Ames, causing all sorts of problems. This year, I don't want to say it's causing problems, but I think I was looking at the record books. Right now, as of 6:30, it's the hottest state tournament for the girls' side on record.
Is that they've got the weather on the Girls Association website?
Well, no, but I've got access to records.
Gotcha.
So it was hot yesterday. It was hot today. They've had to adapt, right, to water breaks being every 10 minutes, which is going to be talked about at some point. And then it's interesting, right? I don't know how deep we want to go down the rabbit hole, but the girls' season this year, was it last year? This year started a week later than the boys.
That's correct.
When they used to be going at the same time. So I think I don't know if that has anything to play into it or not, but obviously the girls have moved up to the Iowa State facility up in Ames, which creates all sorts of talking points. And so, but the weather's definitely got to be an issue for every game yesterday and today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Getting close to, what did you say? I mean, close to 100 degrees, not quite.
It was 98, the real feel, on in between the fields.
Well, when you're talking about the rain and stuff that we've had, can't help but also mention, if we're talking about the conditions, the length of the grass, which I think caused just some, it's just an adjustment for these players because they're a lot of the 2A and 3A players and more 1A than I think we give credit for are playing on turf fields, so the ball's always zipping around, and on the grass it's totally different. And at this time of year, right, like it rains overnight and then it cooks all day, and that grass grows so fast.
Yeah, I'm a big grass. I think you are too. I don't know.
I love to play grass.
Big grass proponent, but I found out today they have an irrigation system on those fields. Could you imagine if they just turned the sprinklers on for 5 minutes before the game and then at halftime for 5 minutes? It would have changed every single game we watched.
Yeah, and what you're talking about, right, is wetting the field down so the ball moves a little bit.
Yeah, there was one moment today I was kind of laughing because I don't want to. It'll be like the girl was taking the ball. There was nobody within 5 yards,
and she's a good player too.
Yeah, I mean, she's arguably one of the best on the weekend or on the week, and does like a face first, heads first slide because she's trying to take it. The ball gets caught in the grass. It's sticky, right? They use that Spalding ball,
right? Which is another like a bit of a talking point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and she just face first, like. And luckily the game was out of hand, so it didn't make an issue, but she just went. And it just, I was like, all right, it's definitely thick, it's definitely a little long, and it's sticky. And it's unfortunate a little bit.
Yeah, everybody's playing the same conditions, though, so there's that. The other little interesting piece to it, though, is that in the final is to be played at the actual, like the Iowa State women's game field. And that pitch is immaculate, and it's a lot more like playing on turf or like nice wet grass.
But it's grass, but it's so short, right? I mean,
Exactly.
It is considerably shorter than those the lead fields.
It's like a golf fairway. That's the condition of the.
It's like a pro field.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to get a run around out there someday.
Those chances are becoming less and less, Ben.
I'm probably not going to ever get that opportunity. Let's start in 1A. 1A, first game of the day. Siebes, what do we have? You were kind of our 1A expert today.
Yeah, first of all, I thought just really quick, I thought the 1A, the crew did, I don't know, the girls' union did a great job seeding because like most of the top teams on paper made the state tournament. So to kick it off, again, we talk a little bit about atmosphere, environment, right? You got the two fields next to each other. You had Denver, who hasn't lost a game all year, playing Iowa Falls, which was their first time making the state tournament. And then just next door on the other field, you had Council Bluffs, St. Albert playing Des Moines Christian. So just chronologically, Denver, right, has been in the state final, I believe, now the last 2 years. Hasn't won it. It was a little rematch from earlier in the season where Denver beat Iowa Falls as well. And I think this is going to be a talking point for the quarterfinals, but first five, last five, with less than a minute in, number 22 for Denver scores a goal. And as the 1 seed, like, that's what you probably want, but then you always want the upset a little bit. And Iowa Falls cannot get off to a worse start. And then, unfortunately, another minute or two later, that she scores again. So it's 2-0. And you're thinking, it's going to get a bit out of hand. But to Iowa Falls credit, they score a penalty or win a penalty and then score it in the first 5 minutes. So it's 2-1 after 5 minutes, and you want to talk about just a little bit of wildness. I think that's an easy way to describe it. And then, so what? Denver's got the girl who scored. Go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say it's Addison Shepard, I think.
Okay, so she hadn't scored either one of those, but she scored.
She went on to score a hat trick.
Yeah, so she scores the next 3 and puts the game
out of reach,
out of it at halftime to make it 5-1. I think she had scored 36 goals on the season.
It's a lot of goals,
something like that, and 20-some assists. So Denver does kind of do what they're supposed to do, but you're there for a minute. It was good. You thought they were going to smash them, and then I love Iowa Falls come back.
3 goals and an assist for Addison Shepard, actually.
But then, Denver kind of finishes it off.
All right, let's go to that next matchup, Siebes.
Is that the St. Albert Des Moines Christian, right?
That's right, the 4-5.
So, again, you want to talk about craziness. Like, Des Moines Christian goes up 2-0 right away. And you're thinking, like, oh, all right. The girls are going to kind of match the boys a little bit, right? Get off to a good start, get past the first round.
Wait a second. It's not 2-0 right away. It's 1-0 in the 8th minute.
It's even worse.
The second goal doesn't come till the 68th minute.
Sorry, but like,
so that's what makes
you're
it
right.
more.
And then like
it makes it crazier, right?
You want to talk about the pandemonium that's coming.
Yeah.
Because you do. I thought, right, 2-0 game over.
Right.
Because there's 20 minutes to play. Or no, 20 minutes to play. No, 15 minutes, whatever it was. Not much.
Barely 10, 12.
And then St. Albert, boom.
There's 12 minutes left. Right.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah,
it doesn't stop.
Gets 3. Wait, no. 2.
2, and then Stella Sims with another 2 herself. So.
But let's look at look at these times though, right? 68-14 is Addie Adker for DMC gets them the 2-0 on a penalty kick, 2-0. Less than a minute later, Ellie Larmy. Then less than 2 minutes later, Stella Sims. Then, about 2 minutes later, Larmy again at 3-2. And then basically 40 seconds later, Sims scores.
Sounds like a total
73-57
from the Lions.
What on earth happened?
That's
insane.
Great little reaction by Council Bluffs St. Albert. Again, it's kind of cool, right? The girls and boys for both these programs. On the boys' side, made the state tournament. Now the girls are in it. But But yeah, you end up with the St. Albert, Denver semifinal on the top half. And then, I don't know, you guys want to get into the bottom half really quick?
Sure.
So you got Assumption, traditional power in 1A, right, going up against, they're the defending state champion.
19th straight appearance for the Knights. That's
And
crazy.
Again, kind of a cool story. Appleton Parkersburg. The girls decided that Dyke New Hartford boys were not going to be good enough to join their program, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, no, the joke. It's because those two,
Yeah,
three,
the boys
4,
is
5,
Appleton,
whatever they are.
Parkersburg, Dyke New Hartford United.
Yeah.
And on the girls' side,
AP
right, remember
still stays
who's that
themselves.
really good player that was at Dyke New Hartford?
Sophie Hoffman. Is that right?
No.
Anyways,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
totally forgetting off right this minute, but stud player.
but Appleton Parkersburg makes again first time they're in the state tournament this year, and then I don't know. Go 0-0. The Heat, I would say, like, this is the first game that the Heat really made an appearance because there just wasn't much going on. But this was the goal where it goes to sudden overtime, right? Golden goal bracket.
Yeah, and this
you had caught this one.
I did, yeah.
As well. Remember they score.
Correct.
So AP scores within
the first minute and a half or
is
two.
that what it was? Yeah, quick.
Yeah.
And golden goal, and then the ball pops. So they score.
That's right.
The ball hits the back bar.
Yeah,
and it
so
pops
she, like,
out.
She hits
She turns. It's a great little turn.
Yeah, who's the goal scorer? Kiara Morris. And it's like she hits a really strong shot to the near post, and the goalkeeper is only able to, like, push it into the top, kind of the top corner, and it hits, like, the back of the goal bar and bounces back out. And so as it bounces back out, like, it's hard to tell what the reaction, like, if there's a whistle or what, and it bounces to.
There wasn't a whistle, at least that like anybody could
and
hear.
it bounces to another player, and she scores, but almost misses. And it's just one of those where it was, like, unclear at first who really scored the goal. After you watch the replay, you can tell the initial shots, what goes in. But hopefully they got, I don't know, I guess I would have no way to know if they got it correct or not, just because I couldn't tell, like, on the TV necessarily what the person looked like, you know what I mean? So it was probably Kiara Morris, but
it was a good little turn. I'm like, great.
She ran like 50 yards with the ball.
Yeah. So that's a big upset, right? Assumption was the 2 seed. Parkersburg first year as a 7 seed. Good little story there. And then on the bottom half, you had Hudson and Trainer, right? And Hudson, again, right away, scores right away. First 5 minutes, go 1-0 up, and that's where that game ended. So just like, again, I think the Heat, the weather got into it a little bit, and they're just, I'll admit I didn't watch much more of it, but Hudson wins 1-0. So I think then you got I think just some interesting storylines in that.
In our next round?
Yeah, yep. Because you got, right on the top half, you got Denver against St. Albert, but then on the bottom half, Parkersburg and Hudson. So a lot of those teams have played each other in the earlier season. So Hudson beat Parkersburg twice. Denver beat Hudson. They tied Parkersburg. So a lot of familiarity as you kind of move forward.
Right on. Okay, well, let's talk 2A a little bit then. So top half of the bracket, you had Norwalk, the 1 seed. They're 16-1-2 going into it. They played Lewis Central. This was this was one-way traffic, right? Norwalk wins 6-0, I believe. I think I'm saying that correctly. I'm just going to make sure. Yeah, 6-0. Olivia Welch with a hat trick. Addie Wood with a couple goals herself. No, it looks like also a hat trick. So a couple hat trick heroes there for them. A couple of seniors, and oddly enough, as I was looking through the program just to make sure I get an idea of what's what, those two players do not appear to be playing college soccer, but obviously are like big time contributors. But instead, for Norwalk, you've got a few players that are going to be playing at the next level, which obviously just makes a difference when you're playing high school soccer for sure, right? So you have Elise Lehman or Lamont going to Northwestern College, Tatum Miller's going to Bemidji State University, and Paige Nichols is going to Wayne State College. So so you've got some talent kind of all through the team is, I guess, basically my point. So they're going to be a tough team, I'm thinking, this year. Who else? Did anybody else watch North Scott and Gilbert? Matt, I think you kind of watched that one with me. North Scott's there out of Davenport.
Yep.
They won 3-0 over Gilbert. Gilbert just couldn't really seem to get a hold of the game. And I feel like there were there's maybe a soft goal in there. Am I recalling that?
Yeah, but it was one of those, again, you just get a couple of goals in quick sequence, right? So, it was 0-0 until.
And the PK. Remember the PK was the handball, and it was am I remembering that correctly? It was a cross that I think hits her in the hands, and the player, her immediate reaction is to. Are you remembering?
That's
this?
right. Yeah,
She,
it was on the end line.
Covers her face immediately. So it's sort of an easy call for the ref, because even if the ref's questioning it. Anyway, so then score the penalty, and then you're right. Quick goal right after that by Cameron Jones.
So it's sort of, wind out of your sail right before halftime, right?
Totally.
And then you get the third, which puts the nail in the coffin, so to speak, and with 55 minutes into the game, or just 15 minutes into the second half.
Yeah. Let's go to the bottom half of the bracket. So the top half of the bracket, right? We'll see a Norwalk against North Scott matchup in the semifinal. Should be an interesting one. North Scott, obviously, they had some pretty strong players. I'd have to look through again because I didn't take good notes on numbers. You got anything for me, Matthew?
No, I don't.
That's fair. That's my own fault for not being more prepared. And since Siebers left us to run to the restroom, I don't have anybody to give me a really hard time, so I'll take advantage of that. See if I can get there. Here we go. So, North Scott, I just want to kind of see some of the teams that they play. They play a lot of 4A teams, it looks like. So I would just guess that's why it'll be a competitive match.
3A teams, but yeah.
I'm sorry. I continue to get that mixed up between the boys and the girls. So, yeah, the larger class. And then, so they've got a good goalkeeper in Nora Barnett. And then I was just going to try to see because there's somebody who scored a ton of goals. It looks like it's Reese Barnett who scored the penalty. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on them. That'll be a fun one, I think. And then the North Polk, Waverly Shell Rock. That was, I believe that would be considered quite the upset.
It's a huge upset.
Yeah.
North Polk's number 7 going to the game with Waverly Shell Rock at number 2. I know Waverly Shell Rock, I believe, if I remember correctly, knocked off some 3A teams early in the year.
Somebody said they beat Ankeny.
They may have. Or they may have even played DCG pretty well as well.
They tied DCG.
Okay. So
And they did beat Ankeny, right, Ben? And traditionally they've been
you're right.
A power.
Yeah, that's a huge upset.
Yeah, that's Francis Lee's squad up there.
Well, they have that Annika Ott, who's been, I remember her from last year as well, just goal scorer, to put it bluntly. But struggled a little bit. Is that right, Cameron, Evan? She struggled a little bit.
I don't know. I just remember they lost in overtime 1-0 against defending champs DCG, so it's historically they've been good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so anyway, big upset there. Congrats to Francis Lee and her squad there. We'll be looking forward to watching them. In the semifinal, they will take on
DCG.
as we were just mentioning.
Weird.
Dallas Center Grimes. I
Right?
know,
Weird.
right? Every time we talk to Jan James, he's like, oh, yeah, we'll see. We might not be as good as last year or whatever. And their record's not undefeated, but 13-2-2. They played a tough schedule all year. I know that. And is that a rematch of last year's? It's definitely a matchup that happens regularly.
Didn't
though.
they play Waverly in the final last year?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it was
Dallas
like
remembers?
earlier in the tournament.
Yeah.
And my point is just they're not unfamiliar with each other.
Right.
So it's a bit of a rivalry type game for them, and they just run through it 3-0, and it's actually hard to tell when all the goals were scored.
I
right?
can't believe, real quick, Ben, I'll interrupt you. How
Go for
is
it.
DCG and North Polk not playing in the regular season?
It's a great question.
I just they're right there. I know they're playing some bigger schools, so maybe that takes away some games. But
Yeah, but it's just such a meaningful opportunity to play
they're-
against.
they have to be arguably that's like the two closest schools
might-
in 2A that
they might
are in the
be,
entire
yes.
state.
That's correct.
Go to the new, what's the Soggy Frog? Is that the new bar at the Centerville Lake now? Meet in the middle. Let's play at the fields up there, and you guys will be good.
All right. Well, so North Polk.
You
Cal
weren't
Center
expecting
Grounds-
that shout out, were you?
No, I wasn't. I've never even heard of that bar.
So wait, let me just mention it. So a couple of interesting things about that, right? So haven't played North Polk, but what's interesting is, Head Waverly Shalrock won that game. DCG had played Waverly Shellrock and drawn on May 9th, 1-1, right? So they avoid, playing them again, which was going to be a close game. So now DCG now is the favorite, right, to go through, as is Norwalk. So in the semifinal, that's going to be a really interesting fixture, because if the two favorites win in Norwalk and DCG, we'll have a rematch, and Norwalk knocked off DCG 2-0 in basically the first game of the season for both teams on April 7th. Anyway, so it's going to be, I think it'll be very interesting to see who ends up going to the final there.
Definitely. Both teams will get a nice day of rest. Or no, they'll have had 2 days of rest, right?
And can I just mention as well, Norwalk has also beat North Polk this year 2-1.
That'd be great if they play in the final. If they don't, that piece of info will just
Will not be
wither
relevant.
away. Incorrect.
North Polk has also played, Waverly. Oh, wait, never mind. That was yesterday.
All right. Well, then, so we're set up for some tasty semifinals there, and then let's just jump up to 3A real quick. Again, like slightly hotter today than it was yesterday, and I don't know. Is the grass as a result just marginally longer?
The grass is the factor in the tournament. It is the factor.
It's more of a factor than the heat.
It is, easily.
Okay.
Easily.
Well, because they're also giving the players breaks every 10 minutes to get a sip of water. So
That's
which
another.
Do we want to get to that point now, or do we want to wait?
Well, let's
Because
talk about it
that's-
now.
Okay.
Let's bury it in the middle.
Gives people listening for the whole episode.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
it.
It just offers everybody an opportunity to get coached additionally, right? And you get an extra rest. So you don't need to use your bench.
But they do. People are using their bench. I would not make a sub, I don't think. If
Yeah,
my team
unless you need an impact change of personnel, but you're never going to go hey, Blake's tired, let's take him off and put somebody else in. To
your
give him a
best players
breather.
should not step off the field
Correct.
now.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, no, I mean unless you've got players that are comparable, but one does one thing better than the other, and you say, well, we need more attack, or now we need more defense, or right? But tactical reasons, fine. But you're right, not for energy or
To give them a rest.
right.
Do you think there's a physician or medical personnel advising on water breaks
Has to
because
be.
of the heat, or
Yeah, has
is
to
there
be.
some sort of national standard, or what? I mean, I'm just wondering.
There has to be somebody, right? Just for because U.S. soccer now and the club scene has a heat. I'm going to love it because we're going to get absolutely slaughtered for this because we don't know it. But there's a protocol when the temperature is at this degree, you can only train for this many minutes without
Okay.
and all that. So I would assume
I've just never
that-
heard of this.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
10
So
minutes
it
seems
completely
like a
changes.
short amount of
Yeah.
time.
And opinions were flying around the complex, right? About the grass and the weather breaks.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it totally changes the game. It's more like a hockey sort of line change.
Except you don't change the line.
Well, you get a break though, like a line change,
Correct.
but you get a break.
Yeah, and I don't want to hammer the grass thing too hard, but like if you
I
go,
do.
well, okay, fair enough.
Feel bad.
But I was just gonna say if you go, like, so we're obviously when we're trying to keep track of everything, we're using the girls, the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union's website, which is a nice website by the way. But the picture of like 3A and 2A that they have at the top is all showing the games from last year, and you can see the players' shoes in the grass. Like you can see the tops of their toes and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were watching today, and they like the players' shoes were almost.
That's because that's the final, right?
Yeah, right.
But
That's what he's saying.
That was my point. It's
Yeah.
just to like, I wasn't purposely looking for this bit of but like I mean you see it right.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much you can see the players' feet.
So so that question is, I'd be curious what the answer is. If you rent that facility like they are doing, I would hope you could have a mandate to say, hey, this needs to be mowed.
Well, I think we've
Every
heard
day.
feedback from a coach, at least one coach, who said that there was a standard like
That's
length
right,
of
last year,
grass,
yeah.
and I couldn't tell you what it is, but let's just say it's 1.5 inches, right? Like that, whatever it was not that length.
Just water the thing, though, and this is a moot point, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, or
A
like
little bit. It
or
decreases it,
would
man.
change
mow
it.
it earlier in the day.
Or just mow it between games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so look, I mean, obviously at Dowling we played most of these teams throughout the season, right? That are in the quarterfinal today. So the only teams we didn't play were Dubuque, Bettendorf,
Bettendorf definitely has turf.
and so I think those are the only two teams we had not played.
But you played all your games. on
Linn-Mar
turf.
is the other one. So we played all the games on turf, but I will say, you know, I think what this does is if you're a more direct team, right, where you're willing to bypass midfield and you're playing, 40-yard passes directly into the front third, you are benefiting in a massive way from the grass.
The ability-
especially if you've got athletes who can run. I mean, because what we saw players fighting through the grass, like with the ball, right? So if you're a strong player, I mean, because like literally a touch in the grass, dribbling. I saw it with the player today. She's in the box. She's driving around a player. She touches it. She takes a huge, basically strikes the ball. It goes 10 yards, and she still gets to the ball. On the turf, she might have scored with the same touch, and she was 20 yards from goal. Literally, that's how. Maybe that's a little bit of an embellishment, but not quite. I mean, it makes such a huge difference. So I think, teams that the turf hurts. We haven't seen it quite yet, but the which will change. I think Waukee Northwest, while they're still, I think, the favorite I think they're going to win it. They are at a disadvantage with the grass as opposed to turf because they're a team that can pass it, and they can just if they can keep the ball and move it, I think they are better than everyone out there easily.
And can we just talk about the length of the grass and why a little bit more why it favors those
Yeah.
direct teams too? Is right, like you're having to always to anticipate where the ball is with the grass takes like a little extra experience playing on grass all the time, right? Like you have to know how the ball is going to sit up. You're going to have to, and you can also think about what you can do with the ball as far as like you can put some backspin on it and it'll just kind of like it'll just stop into the space if you do it right, and or you can bend a ball and it bends into the space differently on the grass, right? Once it skips, it totally takes off. So you've got one chaos because not everybody's used to judging the flight of the ball that way. Two defenders, getting caught up, basically in the grass essentially, right? And then attackers getting, the ball getting caught under the grass. It just makes it almost more hectic.
Right, and does the goalkeeper come out of the box to get it or not? Right.
Exactly. How quick can you be off your line when the ball sets up?
Right.
Like you might be stuck.
If you just think about the range of the players, right? Typically, I think I would say it's accurate that when one of these female players in the high school game on this level hits a good ball, right? She hits it probably about 40 yards. And
Yeah, maybe 50 at the most.
40 or 50 yards,
Yeah.
right? So you're seeing now a ball that would get hit 40 or 50 yards into the turf, like
Yeah,
away
it's
from
like
the goalkeeper,
60% or 70%.
is out of bounds,
Yes.
right? Here, that ball just sits up very nicely, probably behind the back four or the back three, and which is why you see these strikers now all of a sudden getting a hold of more balls.
Yeah.
And I mean, look how many goals were scored in 3A. 7-0 to Joaquin Northwest. 7 goals. 4 goals wins it for Bettendorf.
And that's it's in a 6-goal game.
4 goals wins it for Valley. 5 goals wins it for Centennial. I mean, that's a crazy amount of goals.
Maybe they're doing it for the neutral.
Yeah.
Genius on their part. I love grass. I mean, again, I'm a big grass guy.
I like
Everybody
the grass better
complains
too.
about
Just
it,
not,
but
I just don't like
they could make it
the weeds.
Yeah.
Well, and we also said this earlier, like growing up, one of the coaching points that I heard the most when playing on grass was overhit your pass, right? I mean, honestly, like, and for somebody our age, for our generation, that is like one of the most used coaching tips that you would have been given by any coach. A good coach, a bad coach would have said, overhit your passes.
Yeah.
It's just totally wild.
I love it. I love it. All
Okay.
right, so let's get to the games.
Can I also
Yeah, no.
can I also say the other team that I think gets hurt by this is Ankeny. Ankeny is another team who's I think they're very dynamic and threatening going forward, but some of their best players are smaller in stature. And
Right.
so they're just like it's going to benefit the big strong player, and I know we're going to get into the results here in a second, but that's the other team that I mean to me, and this is just my opinion, the best 2 teams in the field in the top 8 were, and maybe it's just because of the results when they played us, but Ankeny and Joaquin Northwest. So anyway, but they're both teams that, man, they got players that can play a little bit.
Centennial did beat Ankeny in the Derby earlier in the year, right?
I realize that,
Okay.
but Centennial plays differently. Centennial is much more direct.
More athletic.
And like we saw that today. Yeah, I mean they get the ball from the back to the front very, very quickly, and they're in the attacking third even on the turf all season long. So their style of play is the same whether it's on turf or it's in the grass.
But they beat them on the turf and the grass. That's the only reason I was
get
saying.
it. I understand that. I'm just saying it's still even more of an advantage to Centennial. So what was the score of that game, Blake? Since you know so much
5-1
about it.
Centennial.
Yeah, it ended up
No, before.
1-0.
Derby.
1-0.
Right, that's my point. Right. Anyway.
Okay. Well,
Love it. Love the debate.
I
on the
do.
pod.
I do. Yeah. Well, let's start at the top of the bracket. Go sequentially. Number 1 Northwest against number 8 Dubuque Hempstead, and it's one-way traffic, right? 7-0 Joaquin Northwest Wolves.
Takes 30 minutes for him to score, though.
It does, but then they start.
That's not accurate, though.
Is
I
that
think
not-
they've got because I watched that. That's not accurate. I'm pretty sure because we were sitting there. I was talking to Lindsay Horner. We were the goalkeeper, Northwest goalkeeper is going to Drake.
Right.
So she came to watch a little bit and watch everything else. And
What's the goalkeeper's name?
that's a good bet. I wish I had a program, Ben.
She's a good goalkeeper.
Grace Thomason.
Thompson.
beat me to it.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Only
So
3 goals allowed all year.
Yeah. I was going to point that out, too. So Joaquin Northwest has not been scored on since April, which is a pretty interesting statistic. I also think the other interesting statistic about the scoreline, and correct me if I'm reading this wrong, but they had 7 different goal scorers today.
I think you're right, Matt, because everybody was getting in on it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Tony's looking a little bit ahead of things towards the week, right, with all the heat. Because one of the coaches, right, Ben, remember yesterday, said the heat just kicked, he used some different words, but it took it out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was warmer today, I thought. So, he might have been I'd be curious if he was using a bigger roster or not.
See what his changes were. I mean, you got Natalie Elliott, who's involved in the first goal and the sixth goal. You've got Grace Hummel, who's involved in the second goal, the fifth goal, and the seventh goal. So,
You know who didn't score is that their midfielder.
What's that?
Croat or whatever, their midfielder.
Romy Croat. She's not on the scoreline, is she?
She was good. She smashed a ball.
She's a stud.
Yeah, she smashed one. It didn't go in. It was a great save by the goalie, but like with her left
she
foot.
play basketball in college?
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
I mean, like I think we all kind of thought they would go through, right?
Oh, easy.
But then talk about the other field.
Yeah.
A little bit of craziness there.
Bettendorf versus Waukee.
Yeah. So Waukee goes up.
2-0.
Bettendorf misses a penalty in the first half. And you guys, I mean, we talked a little bit about it. Balls going poor girl skied it.
Well, so this is another thing, though, right? So the way you set the ball up on this grass, like if you don't like prop it up on the grass, it really gets underneath it, so you're prone to topping it. But if you fluff it up properly, also you could end up. I mean, you've kind of teed it up, and now it maybe sets you up to go to sky it. So it's just one of those. Again, it kind of comes with like the experience of doing it a lot. I don't know. Think about when you do it on the grass, like you like put a little backspin on it, so it kind of rolls up and makes it look nice, Right.
Well, I mean, I equate it to like hitting your driver off the tee box, right? Like you're trying to figure out the correct height for your tee, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen Blake a lot of times.
He likes that. He tees it always too high,
and his ball goes straight up and comes back down.
Exactly.
So
I think that was the game of the day, though, because it was not a 2-0 game up to that point. It was even. And again, you want Ben. Here's your first five, last five. Bettendorf scores one before
you can't escape it, man.
Right before half gets over, and you're like, all right, that's actually a fair result at halftime. You could argue 1-1.
Right, but the difference between going in 2-0 and 2-1 at halftime is massive especially for the team winning, and I guess for the team losing too, right? Because now you're like, all right, guys, blood in the water.
Yeah, and then it was interesting the reaction from Waukee because they gave away one right after the second half kicked off. And I think the heat got to them because there was not it was just like, oh, this doesn't look good. Yeah. They fought back. They hit the bar later in the second half. But Bettendorf just kept putting it on them and pressuring and then Waukee had a penalty actually late in the second half as well that they missed. So we love talking about penalties in pairs, right?
They always come in pairs.
A good save from Bettendorf goalkeeper. And then they got one to make it 4-2, and then I thought it was kind of over, and Waukee changed their tactics a little bit.
Well, it looks like Bettendorf's got a couple players playing in college. You've got Olivia Snow.
Where's she playing at, Ben?
She's committed to Minnesota State Mankato. And then Riley Sweetland is going to South Carolina Aiken, which I'm not familiar if that's, if it's just like a...
It was, okay, so I mean, you want to talk about that. It's interesting. So the number of college coaches there today...
Yeah, there's a lot.
There was a ton. Nebraska, Drake, Simpson, Grandview, Loris, Minnesota...
Well, you mentioned Loris.
Minnesota State or something.
Who was it that somebody has 4 players that are going to Loris? I think it was one of the teams we were just talking about.
Okay. No, it was just kind of a cool little thing, like as you see it, right? Because there's only 2 fields, you can kind of see who's around.
Yeah, Waukee Northwest has Cora Sundek, Kinsey Shea, and Izzy Simeone or Simonini.
They're going to Loris.
They're all going
of them?
to Loris.
I was impressed because
by the way, those are 3 great pickups for Loris.
Nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
Wartburg
I've
was
seen,
there
as
well.
Simonini's a really good player. Cora Sundet's a really good player. Who's the third one? Anyway, I feel like Loris has done really well by picking up those players. So hopefully they...
Kinsey Shea
as well. Okay. So this is for me.
Kinsey Shea, sorry.
Kinsey, no. For that Waukee...
Kinsey, sorry.
For the scoreline today...
They're sisters.
The biggest shocker is that Waukee gave up 4 goals. So they've the most goals they've given up all season is 2 goals. Sola, please. And that was against Pius, the Nebraska state champion, who we played, and they whacked us pretty good. And so, I mean, and, Waukee has their center back, who's going to South Dakota State, I believe, Stella Braddock, who basically patrols back there. And, I mean, that's why it's so hard to get by him.
She's really good in the air.
She's good in the air. She can run you down.
She hit the bar. No, she made the goalkeeper make a great save when she got pushed forward at the end.
Okay. But, I mean, for Bettendorf to get by him 4 different times, Waukee's either had a complete nightmare at the back on 4 different occasions, or Bettendorf's got something about him going forward. And so, I mean, I think that's a really interesting thing. And then, of course, Bettendorf, it looks to me like when they've played, they've really played only teams on the eastern side of the state, right? So they're just kind of an unknown. I'm just flipping through their schedule real quick. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've played anybody in they didn't play anybody in central Iowa or in the western side of the state. So nobody really knows what they're like. So I guess that's the only thing about this next game because I think it's them versus Waukee Northwest, right?
Correct.
They're an unknown, and so I guess that's the X factor.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Before we move to the bottom half of the bracket, one other little talking point I wanted to bring up was just sort of the way that the games are laid out, right? Like the 2 games kind of slightly overlapping at a time makes it really tricky to be able to watch all the games, right? So with the boys, I really liked, especially with the semifinals and the finals, where you're forced to watch every single game because there's no overlap. You don't have to pick and choose. And then with the quarterfinals, you could at least say hey, we're going to go to one site and watch full games and not have to pick and choose. Okay. Now, if we could trade that for going back to county where all the games are at the same time, I would do that. But
yeah, I kind of like the little stagger.
Fair enough.
Just because you can, if you sit in between. Here's the problem though, right? If you sit in between them, it's great.
Correct.
But if you don't, you can't really see what's on the other side with the tents in the middle and
and there's all sorts of chaos in the middle too, right? You got the generator going, you got the mister going.
Couldn't hear you from that generator.
From the generator that we've got going here. Okay, well, anyway, that was just a really small point.
Can we just talk about the fan base too? The fan turnout.
You have to.
It's just not.
I thought
I like to chalk it up to the heat, but just I
got in my car and I'm like, oh, it's not. Ames is not a bad drive. And then I look at it and it's 45 minutes, and it's just oh, that's gonna be it's longer than.
Yeah. Well, and I guess
10 to 15.
The difference between Mediacom as your host site and up in Ames is because there's just no 2 ways around it, right? A lot of the teams are from central Iowa, so driving to Des Moines is not it's something people want to do a lot of the time, right? And then you also have all the neutrals that are just oh, well, yeah, I can just buzz 15, 20 minutes over. And I've heard people, the big cities go 45-minute commute, an hour commute, that's nothing. But sorry, guess what? We do live in Des Moines, and you can get around everywhere in about 20, 25 minutes or less.
You're right, Ben. The number of people that don't drive out, right? The co-ed stuff out in Altoona and all that, nobody wants to go out there even though it's 25 minutes.
Right.
And the neutral, I noticed that when you say that's a good point. The neutrals showed up last week at the boys.
Correct.
They haven't shown up yet for the girls.
No, and that also it's the neutrals
far enough away.
Because it's once your team gets knocked out, a lot of the boys team, if the boys teams gets knocked out, they still they keep watching because they want to know what happens. Same with the coaches, and I didn't see a lot of a ton of additional girls there watching other teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was one team yesterday with a whole group of boys, sort of hooligans.
Oh yeah,
with their shirts
great.
Off, right?
That was cool. I think
North Polk.
North Polk.
That was North Polk, right? So
tarps off.
But and maybe I just didn't look closely enough, but that was the only noticeable sort of student fan base I saw. But that was still
Mediacom, every game there's at least one at least one student section.
I mean, think about Urbandale's fan base, at their game. I mean, Hoover's fan base. I mean, just name all the Central Iowa schools. The students showed up and showed out. I mean, So.
And it's also this other piece to it too, right? Now we're just that much further into summer, So like people have stuff, I'm just and I'm not. It's good or bad. It's just like that might play into it.
Well, I just think and let's just go back to a few years ago when we had the boys and the girls event, the quarterfinal day, all at County. I get it. It's a long day. It's a lot of people in one space. But my goodness, what an unbelievable atmosphere.
Remember the final? Johnson played on the one field.
Yep.
Game got over at 7 o'clock, and
Yeah.
the final started at 6:30 or whatever it was. Right? It was a little overlap, and they all came over. And that's where the Drags got in a little bit of trouble, but because they won it. But like that was one of the best atmospheres ever.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, let's not get too.
I still remember who's the boy, Cody. Our boy Cody.
Yeah.
Because I had to
He
miss.
remember-
That was
he remembers you,
2023.
Matt.
I had to miss the final, and Cody had some words for me. It's great. Anyway.
Oh, that's right. Now I'm remembering. I do. Where's Matt Sayeg?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
And then
he
the
said some other things, but-
then the
Yeah, well.
apology came through on Instagram. Does Matt have access to this account?
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, so let's head to the bottom half of the bracket quick. Just as a quick recap, though, first, maybe Waukee Northwest 7-0 over Dubuque Hempstead, and Benton North 4-2 over Waukee. So we'll see Waukee Northwest against the Benton North Bulldogs. On the other side of the bracket, so we had my Valley Tigers, the number 2 seed, against Lynn Mar.
Dominant.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like we were taking like a cool off break, and before we could even get it on to watch, like we flipped it on. It was 3 minutes in. It's already 1-0, and before we could like even think to rewind it, it's 2-0, right?
Yeah, and I was just looking at the stats right now. Olivia Rotich should get credited with the assist on the second goal because it's a massive punt. She's brave and flicks it on. And Sabrina Rogers does a bit of magic, but like that was clearly an assist because she flicked it with her head.
Is that second one? Is that the goal that
Yeah.
Evan got and we posted?
I hope so, but like
Evan?
I don't know. It was just like one of those where it's clearly an assist because it's a massive punt from the Valley goalkeeper. Rotich wins the ball, but it's still one touch, flicks it, and Rogers does a lot. Not I'm saying not a little bit of magic, but a lot of magic. Scores.
She hit it upper corner.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
just like it's
left-hand
kind of
side.
like unfortunately for Lindmar, I thought that was kind of the game. It kind of played
Yeah.
out that way a little bit, didn't it? Now
Well, it
after
did.
6 minutes, the game's 2-0.
Well, and then Francis Huckabee makes it 3-0 with about 15 minutes left in the first half, and so the fact that Limar scores there to make it 3-1 before halftime, like I don't know, I wasn't super concerned for the Tigers.
And that was that was a ball that just went through the goalkeeper's hands.
Yeah, definitely, right? Yeah, it was not like against their own play, but it just was sort of like an innocuous chance.
It just the goalkeeper just completely mishandled it because it was like head high,
Yeah.
and I for whatever
won't be
reason
happy, yeah.
she must have thought she caught the ball before she did and took her eyes off of it. So really, the game's more 5-0 than it is 5-1. But if
4-0
you
and 4-1.
It was dominant by Valley.
Right.
I was impressed.
Rogers is a huge game, right? So a
that was
goal
that-
and 2 assists,
Yep.
They were
2 goals and 1 assist.
dynamic down
2
that
goals
left
and 1
side.
assist. Sorry.
You're right.
Yep.
Well, and so it'll be interesting to see. Then you've got another kind of local.
I love the derby in the quarterfinal, right?
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it?
But again, like you want to talk about the crowd?
It was not.
There
And
was-
you're also we're as close to from Ankeny. You're as close to Ames as you could be.
Yeah, there was just like, again, like you said, baby, maybe people are out of town. Maybe
So
it was
maybe-
hot. But
yeah,
like, man, I bet you if that game's at MediaCom,
You think so? Maybe that's.
I hope so.
It's still 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes either way for
I
those
know,
guys,
but like we've been to some of those derbies and the boys girls double hitters, and it is electric. It's incredible. It's great. And there was just, I don't know, disappointed from a neutral.
Yeah.
But Centennial just, took control, right? Like put their foot on it, and
yeah.
I think by the end of the day, they were clearly the better team on the grass. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah. Well, so it goes at 1-1 at halftime, though, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was one. And this just goes to the the trick of having to try to watch 2 games at once. So I think we kind of all got drawn into the value game a little bit. But they come out at halftime and just 4 unanswered goals to make it 5-1. And Chris Allen has them buzzing at the right time. Matt, talk about their team a little bit. Just you're saying that they're the kind of team that can play both ways, right? They know how to play direct, but they can also put the ball down and knock it around.
I mean, Centennial is a team that just plays very, very direct.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You're saying that about Joaquin Northwest, that they can put it down and play.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
I think Joaquin North. Well, I mean, I haven't seen necessarily Joaquin Northwest just play it super direct. I mean, I think they could do that, but I didn't see their game. But I mean, Centennial is just a team that plays very direct. Everything's into the box. They have big, strong players at the back. Evie Boyle's one of them. She scored that long free kick today.
Mm-hmm.
And then, someone like Maddie Postma, who we featured earlier. Now, I mean, you say what we say, they get the ball forward all the time. But if you remember early on in the season, they scored a really nice goal that went from
Front to back. It was like
goal
a
kick all the way
6-7
through.
pass movement. 10
Yeah,
pass
exactly.
movement.
So I think they're a very direct team, but I think they're a team just like physically and how they're made up as a team that they're going to benefit. They benefit from the grass because they already play direct. And like I said, I think Valley's the same way. So anyway.
All right, can we go to predictions because we did not get a chance with the boys' craziness last week. Girls, right? Girls sub-states were happening on Thursday.
We're going to go 1A, 2A, 3A predictions?
Yeah, absolutely. We got to
Just
do
do
it.
semis and finals?
Well, just champion, like
So-
we did for the boys.
Yeah,
Okay.
before we
No,
go
we
there,
can't go there
I just-
yet.
I
Matt's
just have
got another piece.
I've got
Here
one
we
more
go.
comment. I just want to make a comment this about an Ankeny player. Her name's Abby Steinkamp. She's a sophomore. She's number 7. She got the goal for Ankeny Day. I think she's really a really underrated player. I've sat in like the obviously we played her. I've watched, she played against us. She scored just an unbelievable goal against us. She's a forward. I sat in like all the CIML conference voting and stuff like that. Maybe it's just because she's still a sophomore, but I feel like she's just underrated. She got the goal today for Ankeny. I just wanted to make the comment. I'm a fan. Anyway, go ahead.
Everybody likes a good shout out, Matthew. Nobody's going to complain about that. Okay, let's do predictions. You want to start with 1A, Blakey boy, or do you want to go the other way around?
No, I think we just start, like
1A.
you said, Ben, start with 1A. I think Denver's going to be tough to beat. They played Hudson and Appleton Parkersburg earlier this year. Denver's, I think, going to walk away with it.
We'll see if St. Albert has anything to say about it, but I think you're probably right. Denver.
Matt?
My computer just died, so I don't have it in front of me anymore.
So you have Denver, St. Albert in the semi on the top half, and then you have Appleton, Parkersburg, Hudson on the bottom half.
I'm going for Appleton. I'm going to go Appleton.
First time state
Parkersburg.
tournament, and you're just going to win it the first time?
Ooh, I love that.
The momentum that they have from knocking off, like, basically the most decorated 1A team.
Not basically the most decorated.
Yeah,
team.
like, I mean, there's going to be two things that are going to happen. Either they're going to have sort of the semifinal where you just don't show up because you're on top of the world.
Yeah.
That's that hard game to play, or the momentum's going to carry them forward. But I would love for them to win it all. So I'm going Appleton Parkersburg.
Nice, okay. 2A.
Norwalk versus North Scott in the top half against North Polk. A lot of Nors on this side against DCG in the bottom half. You don't like the Nors shout, Benny?
It was funny. It was a good point. I agree with you.
Who's going against DCG? That's the question, boys.
Who's going to go against Norwalk is also a question, though.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
Cannot go against Dan James and his staff. He's
You're going DJ all the way.
absolutely they've been there, done it. He knows. I'm wondering what they're going to wear.
I
gotta
wanted
do
that
it.
too, and I agree with. I love that
Dan needs a fifth ring on one hand so one of his fingers doesn't feel left out. And so,
Probably isn't he married?
if he is, that's right.
His right hand.
Good point. So, all right. Well, then I can't vote for him. Then he's already got a full hand. I'll go Norwalk then because Dan's got a full hand.
DJ, I'm sorry, man. Oh, man. You know who I'd like to see win is North Polk, because then we'll have some mini pitch momentum up there, hopefully. But I think Norwalk's going to be too much on the top half of the bracket. All right, sorry, Danny. Because I picked against you, I'll pick you. Let's go DCG. I want to see those red hair, all the what are you, the hairdos? Jeez.
Didn't they wear like camo pants last year or something like that?
Yeah, but all the girls
Shorts.
do their hair and they dye it red, and then we see if we get some camo shorts. And also, quick shout, Steve, I mentioned that to you when we were watching DCG play on the boys' side. There were people rocking like camo DCG hats. I feel like Dan James has maybe started a brand that we don't know about.
Something
Anyway.
like that.
Okay, 3A.
He's a fashionista. Oh man, you know what I'll say? Like I was impressed with Bettendorf. I was really, really impressed. But I'll go with the Tigers. Benny, I'll get your back.
I was gonna say
I'm biased a
I'm
little
gonna go
bit, but I
Tigers
think-
too, because I think that they're a little more direct overall, and I think the grass plays to their advantage. So it'll be interesting to see who wins the final between them and Waukee Northwest. But let's go Tigers. Sorry, Chris.
Matt, you probably know more about this class than any of us, so
Yeah, I
Who's
think.
your pick?
I'd hope so.
Yeah, we didn't beat any of these teams this year.
I better. I'll bite my
You also,
tongue.
there were a bunch of other teams you didn't beat either. So
We did draw one of them though, but they're out. So, I mean, to me, Northwest is gonna handle Bettendorf. I mean, Centennial Valley is just a tough one. It's a toss-up. I think that one's a toss-up. I don't know.
Oh wow.
you can't. I don't know.
Yeah, you got quiet.
Well, no, but you still have to pick a winner overall. Is Waukee Northwest going to win it all?
We haven't done a
Oh,
girls prediction
overall?
yet. Yeah.
Yeah, Northwest is going to win it.
Okay.
I think Northwest is there's a larger margin, because I mean Northwest beat Linn-Mar last year, right? Like, what was the score of the final? I can't remember. Was it 3-1 maybe 2-1?
It was comfortable.
3-2 maybe, something like
Whatever
that.
it was, but it was comfortable.
I think they're better than everybody else by a wider margin this year. So I'm going to pick Northwest.
I can't wait to go back up to Ames on Thursday, boys.
Can't
We have a
either.
day off. It's much needed.
Yes. Well, yeah. Make sure everybody gets hydrated tomorrow. Make sure you get a good night's sleep tonight.
Sign up for the golf outing that's coming. High school, boys and girls nominations. Our guys got that link posted because that's a big thing. It's coming up sooner rather than later.
Yes, it is June 27th for our All-Star Showcase in conjunction with the Des Moines Menace and Top Student Athlete Recruiting. And then, of course, the golf outing July 17th, Toad Valley. We were just talking about it today. I've only played golf once this year. I need to sharpen up a little bit because that 55 on 9 was pretty bad.
What date is that? It's July 17th.
Yeah, you better put that on your calendar, Matthew.
I just committed to something else. I'm gonna have to take away that commitment and make sure I'm here for the golf tournament.
Love it.
I'm glad you said that because I literally texted a couple of people and said I was able to golf somewhere else that weekend.
You are not
But I'm
available
not.
to golf somewhere else.
Like it's a Friday. You can do both.
Yeah,
All
it'll be
right.
fun. See ya on Thursday.